Later. Oh, yes. Sorry not to get here. Keep it. Well, I get it. No, I mean, I was why not? But I mean, it really gets down to straight. Hey, how are you? Well, and it is not.
Right.
Okay, we have about 1 minute until we start. Just giving everybody a heads up. Oh, I know.
Sound check.
All right.
Here.
You here? Okay. Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order, and if you please make sure your cell phones are turned to off or vibrate, and if you'll stand with me for the opening prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. Lord, thank you again to do your business. Thank you for the new officer we're about to swear in, and bless all the officers and firemen that serve us every day to take care of this town. Thank you for our citizens that are interested in our community, and thank you for the board that serves every week and every day to try to make this town a better town to live. Help us make decisions that are in your will to move this town forward. In your name we
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible.
For that, so we'll pass by items. There's only one consent item, January 13 minutes. Do I have a motion to approve or?
So moved.
Okay. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, so that's passed unanimously. We'll move on to the appointments, recognitions, and presentations. So we have oath of office for Officer Daniel McLaughlin. So if you'll join me over at the podium over here with the chief, we'll do your oath.
That's family.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States, and I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of North Carolina and to the constitutional powers and authorities which are or may be established for the government thereof, that I will endeavor to support, maintain, and defend the Constitution of said state, not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States, that I will be alert, vigilant, to enforce criminal laws of this state, that I will not be influenced in any manner on account of personal bias or prejudice, faithfully and impartially execute the duties of my office as police officer according to the best of my skill, abilities, and judgment. So help me God. All right, congratulations.
We're glad to welcome Daniel along. He came to us from Carteret County. He graduated from Croatan High School, right? West Carteret, even worse. But we're glad to have him. Congratulations.
Okay, so we'll move on now into the public hearing section of our meeting, which has a rezone Swansboro Loop Road, and Rebecca Bremer will give us.
And that was my presentation. Thanks a lot.
Oh,
any questions?
Okay. Sorry. So sorry. I was getting all excited.
And, we're good.
Yeah, presentation's next.
I'll jump right by. I'm so sorry, Dwayne.
Anybody got any questions? But,
Yeah.
Cameron?
Oh, Lord.
Thank you, Dwayne.
We're good. That's probably why right there, because I didn't click the clicker. That's why, Bill.
That's it.
We'll blame it on me. Thank you, Mayor, Mr. And Commissioners. I'm here to present our 25 annual report. So without further ado, we'll get right into it. Just right off, that's just a letter from me, saying, how privileged I am to be the chief of police here and grew up in. And, just thanks to all the citizens for their support, and also to the board and the town staff for their support as well. And a big thanks also to our staff for what they do. Our police department provides 24-hour law enforcement services to the residents, businesses, and visitors within the jurisdiction of the town of Swansboro. Quality of life for everyone, and ensure that Swansboro is a place where people can work and raise a family within a safe and caring community. And our core values are commitment, service, integrity, and excellence. The town of Swansboro, as you'll see, the Swansboro Police Department is responsible for patrolling 25 housing subdivisions, 8 multi-unit housing areas, 208 businesses. 4 schools are within or by the Onslow County Sheriff's Office, 2 assisted living facilities, and more than 50 surface miles of roads. And also West Corbett Avenue, which is NC Highway 24, is a major east-west roadway that approximately 30,000 vehicles pass by daily. Our department organization, the police department is composed of 13 full-time sworn law enforcement officers, 2 reserve officers. In addition, the department is supported by a civilian administrative assistant. The department maintains 13 police vehicles that are equipped with mobile data terminals and speed enforcement equipment, and all officers are issued a body-worn camera which records all interactions. All officers have received and maintained their certification as law enforcement officers through the North Carolina Training and Standards Division, and within the department, 4 officers have earned their advanced law enforcement certification. Not every call for service that the department responds to require a report to be generated. 51,462 total events for the calendar year, neighborhood patrols, or any other activity that they perform while they're on. 2 pages detail the main types of calls that officers responded to for the calendar year. Calls for service are requests that are received from the public which initiate a response from the department. And as I said earlier, not all calls for service require a report. And then just the next few pages go over some of the calls that we got. 49 times. We had 14 break-ins, 9 deaths, and 2 of which were suicides were investigated last year. We had 81 public disturbances or public disputes where 2 people or 2 or more people got into an argument somewhere out in town. 57 domestics, and we had 54 drug offenses, 21 of which were felonies. And then we had 6 overdoses last year, 1 of which was fatal. We had 29 DWIs, And we go down, we had 108 larcenies, so 17 of which were felonies, 118 property damage, 239 suspicious incident or vehicle or person when somebody calls and thinks they might have saw somebody running through their backyard or something. 26 times we had to go out to some of the intersections and do traffic. And at the traffic enforcement, we had 1,749 citations, verbal warnings, and written warnings. The way we're going so far this year, that number is going to be a little higher next year, so that's good to see. And then we had 281 wrecks. So for the whole year, Division investigated 109 felonies. The next few slides will show what type of crimes the arrests were made for. Felony arrests, we had 28 felony arrests, and 19 of those were narcotics related. So there's a lot of drug activity out on the highway coming through, passing through Swansboro, from Carteret County going into Hubertonville. Yes, sir. Oh, I thought you raised your hand, Bill. Sorry.
I was just.
And actually, at 21, because there was 2 other arrests for possession. 2 of them were for assault, and then we had 3 of them were for a domestic assault, 29 for the driving while impaired, and 33 of them were for large. A lot of those came from, and 20 of them were misdemeanor narcotics possession, and then we had 7 that were arrested for property damage, and then 42 others that were traffic related. That's like driving while license revoked, driving on. And a warrant service arrests are made when officers encounter an individual either through a traffic by a civilian administrative assistant, and he stays quite busy, other than assist myself, the deputy chief, and the lieutenant, the detective, and also the patrol. 170 people that just walked in wanting some kind of assistance last year. And that was all. Last year, the Swansboro Police Department participated in 24 community events throughout the year, and I actually forgot one last week. Reminded me we actually participated in 25 because last week was Read Across America Week, so we always go up to the elementary school and read to, it's usually a 2nd or 3rd grade class, and that's always a lot of fun. You get to pick a nice Dr. Seuss book and read to kids, and they have a lot of interesting questions, community events that we put on as well. And there's a picture of the Toucher truck last year that they had in the park. Tiny Trekkers was always fun. These kids, the Enforcement Cadet Program, and that's a program that Deputy Chief Brim started. There's about close to 20 cadets in it, and they meet twice a month, and it gets them immersed in the atmosphere. They have a lot of classroom session. They do a lot of practical exercises. And what he did this summer was he held a week-long camp, and each of the officers, we all helped, went over there and helped them out with it. We have a couple officers that participated in it. I do it. I don't run. I walk, and my excuse for being in the back is I'm bringing up the rear so they know, and we don't mind helping out. 1,000 patrons for the 2-hour event. We've already got it scheduled for October or August, the first Friday in August. I think it's the 7th. Last year we kind of were late getting started, and the night that we had it on was actually a night when the Swansboro High School football team was playing my number. I don't know how that happened, but he got me good. We held a department Halloween decorating contest. Residents could go online and sign up, and then we went around and judged. That was a few of the houses, a couple of the houses right there. First place was on a video, and I wasn't sure how to put that on here, so unfortunately I don't have a picture of that one. And then, of course, our really nice event that we have at the end of the year, the Shop with a Cop. It's a great time for the officers as well as the students that are involved. But Swansboro Elementary School, they pick 5 to 7 students, and we pair them up with an officer, and we get donations from businesses and residents here in the town. This year we got a lot of donations, and each one of those children were able to go and get over $400 worth of merchandise to shop for their parents, their sibling, and for themselves. We thank Walmart for helping out. They give us their back room so we can go back there afterwards, and the kids go back and wrap the gifts, and they have them snacks. And then they donate a bicycle and a helmet to each one of the kids that participate. Then we load them up in the van, and we give them a police escort back to their house. So it's pretty exciting for them, as well as our guys. This year we had our official drop-off point for the letters to Santa. We had a little box out on the front of the building. Once it got out on social media that we were doing it, it got full. And Santa Claus, of course, he replied to all the letters, and he put them in a nice little envelope with a snack, and then we delivered them to the children that wherever they were at, either Swansboro, Hubert, or Cedar Point, it didn't matter, we took them. we took the letters back to the children and said it was from Santa Claus. So they were all excited at that time. And speaking of Santa Claus, he paid us a visit this year. A little something we threw together at the last minute. We want to thank the fire department for pulling the sled around. They helped us out, and we drove Santa around to some of the neighborhoods. Next year, or this year, I should say, is we'll look to have a little better planning so we can hit every neighborhood on the north side of 24 one day and all the neighborhoods on the south side of 24 the next day. So nobody gets left out. But apparently, when he came through the neighborhoods, he was more popular than the ice cream man. So that was pretty good. Off-duty details for 2025. Civic groups or businesses can hire the off-duty police officers to work security at any events they have. Last year, SPD officers were hired for 36 events throughout the year. The Rotary, they have events when they have their events up there at the Civic Center, they always hire 2 officers to work them. So that's just one option there for the groups here in town. Awards and achievements. At the end of the year, we put together a little awards dinner. We invited each of you to be there, and we're glad to see that you guys were able to make it. And we hand out awards to our officers for different things throughout the year. Of course, the first people we recognized were our spouses and family. They're our biggest supporters. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do the job. So we thank them first and foremost. Congratulations, Officer Eric Mason. He was here this evening. He was voted by his peers as Officer of the Year. He just goes out there every day, does his job, and his peers notice it. He does an excellent job out there. The Chief's Award, that's an award that's given out by the Chief. It doesn't have to be a member of the police department. It could be anybody that supports the mission of the police department throughout the town. Just so happened this year was our police admin, Tom Peluso, and like I said earlier, everything we ask of him, he does, and he's taken it upon himself to do whatever we ask, and he's glad to take it on, and he gets it done. So congratulations to him for this year's Chiefs Award. This young man, besides Deputy Chief Rim, this young man is responsible for the cadet program. I try not to tear his name up, but it's Telus 40 Seymour. But when the cadet program started, he was the first one to sign up, and then he went out and recruited, like I said, close to 20 kids that came out, and he was voted by his peers to be the cadet of the year. He did an excellent job. A community service award went out to Officer Amanda Hibbs for her work in putting together our first national night out. Without her hard work, and also Parks and Rec assistant Sarah Elliott, the 2 of them put together an awesome event. We look forward to this year as well. And then Deputy Chief Brim at the Tunnel to Tower 5K run, they issue or they hand out a following the footsteps. Fire department gets a nominated person, PD nominates a person, and there's 1 or 2 other categories. And I nominated Deputy Chief Brim this year because it doesn't matter what we have going on. He's the first to volunteer. Like, he dressed up like Santa Claus. He dresses up at Halloween. I think he just likes dressing up as anything. So anything to give him an excuse to dress up, he'll do it. But I think he earned that award right there. A special achievement to Detective Kimberly Schott for obtaining her advanced certification in law enforcement. North Carolina Training Standards it's basically 4 levels of certification. When you graduate the academy and you get hired on with the police department, you're automatically you get a probationary certification. After you complete 12 consecutive months, then the state automatically awards you a general certification. Most people spend most of their career as a general certification. After a lot of years and a lot of training and education points, you can apply for an intermediate certification. You send that off to Training Standards. If you meet the qualifications, then they'll award you the intermediate certification. And then a few more years and a lot more education and training points, then you can send off to a board of trustees that only meet twice a year. They go over your qualifications, and if you qualify, then they award you the law enforcement certification, the advanced one. And like I said, at Swansboro, we got 4 out of 13, so they have the advanced law enforcement certifications. That's a pretty good percentage right there for a small town. Then the special recognition, Sergeant Rodriguez was here. We're going through a North Carolina League of Municipality risk assessment, part of that, and also we're looking to apply for law enforcement accreditation in North Carolina. Part of that is you have to redo all your policies and procedures. So we redid all of our policies and procedures. And as we come across our awards policy, we realized that we might have had someone who was eligible for a special recognition. And in December of 2024, Sergeant Rodriguez was called to a single car wreck over on Queens Creek Road. When he arrived, he found out the driver was intoxicated. When he went to take the person in custody, the guy decided to fight him. In the process, they both fell down to the ground, and in doing so, Sergeant Rodriguez broke the bones in his ankle. And he didn't even realize it. He still was able to get up, help another officer that arrived on scene, and they were able to subdue the guy and take him into custody. When I arrived, he's in the back of the ambulance, and they got his foot all wrapped up. He goes, "Chief, I think I'm all right. I think it's just a sprain. I'll be back Monday." And 8 weeks later, he got it. But as a result, we put in, and he was eligible for the Law Enforcement Purple Heart. So he was awarded that on our award ceremony. I told him he can't get another one. New hires, 2025, we brought in 3 new officers. And the first one was Officer Eric Mason. He just completed his probation back at the beginning of February, so not a bad first year he had. He was also, they said he was voted Officer of the Year by his peers. In October, we brought in Officer Daniel Greger, and about 2 or 3 weeks ago, he finished his final field training, so he's out on the road by himself. And then also Officer Stephen Ferguson came in November, and he just completed his field training, so he's out on the road as well. So we brought in 3 new officers last year to fill some spots. We just swore in Officer McLaughlin. We got one more spot that we're processing to fill that final spot right now. So miscellaneous things around the department. Some additional information that the department also offers other services. The residence checks. If you're going out of town on vacation and you want us to check on your residence, you can come by, fill out a form, and we'll go by and check it at least 2 or 3 times a day, make sure there's nothing broken into, no water leaking anywhere or anything along those lines. You give us a number to call. If we find something, we give you a call and let you know. The Are You OK program, we have 2 people signed up. That's a program that's dedicated to the seniors that we have that live alone here in town. And you fill out a form, you hand it in, and you put on there a time and a day. And so either our admin will call or somebody from the PD will give you a call. And we'll sit there and talk to you for 5 or 10 minutes about whatever you want to talk about on whatever days that you sign up for. If you don't answer the phone, of course, we'll send an officer by your house to check on you, make sure you're okay physically. We also do fingerprinting. If people need certifications for different things, they come by and we'll do fingerprint cards for them. And then you see a lot around here, the golf cart. We do the inspections and the registrations each year for people wishing to have a golf cart around town. New patrol car graphics. It came to me earlier this year, or late last year, about the black and whites. And trust me, I love the black and whites. When Bob Ritchie was here, I convinced him to go to the black and whites. I just don't like the way they look on the SUV. On the sedans, they look great, but the SUVs, they kind of look funny. So we kind of compromised. We went with the white graphics, and they're highly visible. So, and then we put the light bars back on top of the cars, so that way there's visibility. Whenever they're in the neighborhoods, you can see them out there on 24. Cars see the light bar, they see the big police across the side or on the front. Little voluntary compliance, it slows them down. And we got 2 more sitting out there. We're getting ready to upfit, and we'll get them on the road as well. Some new gym equipment. We want to thank Walmart again. They donated a rack of some dumbbells, some medicine balls, and a pulley system rack that we can put weight plates on. And I think now it's starting to be a good time to go up and use it because you can really work up a sweat upstairs while you're working out. What most people call the breathalyzer. It's an intoximeter. ECIR2 is the correct name for the instrument. The forensic test for alcohol branch of the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services installed that over at the PD, and it actually reduces the time away that the officer is away from the town whenever they're processing a DWI or SD. Because usually the whole process could take you anywhere from 2 to 3 hours, depending on how busy the magistrate's office is. This could cut off a good hour right here. Because you do whatever you need to on the side of the road, you bring them back. There's an automatic 30-minute observation period before you could even have them get up to the instrument and give it a sample. So it cuts down a lot of that time. Some of the paperwork time is all done right here. Put them in the car, you take them to the magistrate's office. Before, there was only 2 up at the magistrate's office in Jacksonville. The sheriff's office, their task force might have somebody waiting. Jacksonville PD might have somebody waiting, or the Highway Patrol could have somebody waiting. So you could be up there away from the town for anywhere up to 3 hours, just trying to process one DWI arrest. Then around the PD, the deputy chief and the cadets, they did some painting and made our entryway a little more presentable. So we got some stuff to look at when you walk in the door. Don't mind the ugly pictures up front; they might scare you, but some of you might recognize some of those old pictures up top on the left side of that wall. That's some of the old police chiefs up there. It goes all the way back to M.T. Manus, Rocky Chandler. You got Bill Deaton, Pug, Ed, Bob Ritchie, Ken Jackson, and myself. There's one other guy, Pollard. I've reached out to him. I'm trying to get his picture, but he hasn't responded back yet. So right now we just got those. And then, of course, we got Bernie. Bernie, he's always looking for a treat, but he keeps everybody's attitude in check, calms them down whenever they come in. And just some of our department goals for the upcoming year. We want to continue to recruit and quality candidates, work to improve the retention rate in 2025. And I think we've done that with the help of the board and also with Sonia and John with doing the salary assessment and getting our salaries, the officer salaries up, so we're competitive now. We're getting applicants in now. Like I said, we're just about full. So hopefully we'll be able to keep some officers for more than just 1 or 2 years now. We're going to continue with the North Carolina League of Municipality risk assessment. We've already done, like I said, we've already done all of our policy and procedure rewrites. We've submitted them. Now they have to review them, and then they'll come out and do an on-site inspection and do a few ride-alongs with some of the officers, make sure they're complying with those policies. Later on this year, I'd like to apply for the North Carolina Law Enforcement Accreditation. As opposed to CALEA, there's no cost accrued with this. It's a 2-year process, so once we apply, then it's a 2-year observation period where they do before they grant us accreditation. And also look to seek out more grant opportunities, especially since we're having to replace like radios now and other things. So we'll look out there to see what kind of money's out there for us. Want to increase our presence online or in social media. I'd like to get a few more public service announcements out on our Facebook page. Probably I'd like to do at least 1, maybe 2 a month, depending on what's going on for that month. Get some more of our videos back up there, get our officers involved, and shoot some videos for some public service announcements. I'll continue to publish the quarterly statistics. Everybody seems to like that. It goes over pretty well. And increase our officers' community presence with outreach programs to get them out of the car, get them talking to people, get them into businesses, and also have them do some informational presentations. It just gets them familiar with the people in town, gets the people in town familiar with them. And then as staffing increases, have a greater presence on West Corbett Avenue so we can work on some of that traffic safety. And also with staff increases, we're able to send our officers to more training opportunities. So as we got more people, we don't have to call from one shift to have them work on a day off to cover a shift. So, but that's pretty much it. If anybody had any questions, I can take them, or any comments. I tried to keep it under 2. John said I had 2 hours, so I tried to keep it around there.
Yeah, I just wanted to, first of all, thank you for the way your officers have been interacting with the community. I think that is huge. Mm-hmm. Especially for the young people. They need to know that the officers are approachable. Mm-hmm. And whenever you're kind of standoffish, if a kid is having problems, they're going to, I don't know, because they see stuff on TV, on the internet, and they just, this is how it is. Mm-hmm. And next thing you know, they're caught up in a bad situation. They may see one of the officers and be afraid to approach them. And a lot of times that's understandable. And I think all these community events that you've been doing, that helps ease some of it. So many as you can do, because all it's going to do is help. And secondly, I know I gave you, I want to say a hard time, but I pressed you a lot about the vehicles and the way they look. Yeah. And I think it's going to help a lot. Mm-hmm. I've already had comments from people, and I'm a big believer that visibility makes people put their foot on the brakes. And I know I do it. I'm not ashamed to say it. I'm not perfect, but There'll be times I'm not even speeding. I'll put my foot on the brake when I see a police officer. So I think it'll help, and appreciate everything that you guys and gals have done to make us safe. It's hard, real hard, and I know everybody up on this board appreciates everything that y'all do. Thanks.
Thank you.
Chief, I want to express my thanks to you and for your dedication. And where do we find young men willing to take such risks and basically want to serve the public in such a way? That still amazes me today, and I'm very, very proud of this, of you and this department and what you've done, especially in the past 2 years since I've been here, how you've increased the community outreach activities, like threefold at least. Even when I talk to constituents out there, they even know a lot of the officers' names now.
And that's what I want.
They know their face and they know their name, which shows you that's a mark of success. And I think that also builds a level of trust when you're trying to build leads in an investigation and things like that. They know that you're someone they can go to and speak with it. And I think that is the community outreach, I believe, is a force multiplier in fighting crime because it puts you inside the community. And I want to thank you for that and all that hard work that you put into that.
Thank you.
Hey, Chief, thanks so much for the detailed brief this evening. One of the notes that I took away, responded to 7,265 calls for service. Doing my monkey math, that's 20 a day that you're averaging. It just reinforces how busy you and your team are. Your last slide there, your department goals, certainly appreciate that. Seeking out more grant opportunities to make us more resilient, obviously, is the key as we continue to move forward. Your goal to increase community's presence, not only online, but out in the community and on Highway 24. And I know we all hear that from our residents, so we certainly appreciate that. And I would offer, I think others would offer too, as we move into the budget cycle, we're interested to hear your ideas on how we can support you with initiatives like that. Thank you.
Thank you.
First of all, thank you for yesterday. I know that quick response, there was a lot of relieved parents that y'all were on site so fast, it made that was taken care of. Thank you for including all of us for Christmas party and your taking part in your awards. Great to see all the achievements. You can see the morale of your team. That's definitely speaks to your leadership. So we definitely appreciate that. We've all told you thing that you need training-wise. I think looking.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to commend you on getting the police department fully staffed for the first time in years and years and years, and that's a testament to the culture I think that you're starting to build, along with the attention that the town staff's given to you guys. So you can reach out to us for anything you need. If we can provide it, we certainly will. And I'd like to commend Brim as well for all the dedication he's put forth, yourself, all the dedication you've put forth. Anytime I've had any questions, you've been, very helpful.
I'll answer.
Anytime we need any response. The new cadet, Seymour, if you deem it necessary, it might be nice to have him come to one of our Board of Commissioners meetings. Since he was instrumental in, it's more of a future agenda item probably, but just so the public can recognize him, because it sounds like he was very, very instrumental in helping Brim get that off the ground.
Yeah, he went out, like I said, most of those kids, he recruited them, so.
And thank you for all the things you do behind the scenes that doesn't come to light a lot of times. There's a lot of stuff goes on in this little town. And thank you for everything you do with that. There's a lot more I can say, but you know how we feel about you, so I'll just let it go at that.
Thank you.
So that's it.
All right.
I wasn't trying to cut you short.
No, that's all right. Now we'll pass it on to Rebecca.
Oh, one last thing though. Thank you for the attention to 24. Y'all, I was talking to you and you were telling me about the number of engagements that officers have had on 24.
Oh, yeah.
And the more that happens, the more it's going to help with the situation out there with the speed limit signs and the presence out there. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, now I guess we'll do public hearing now. Okay. Rebecca will fill us in and give us the background on that.
All right, good evening, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. We have a public hearing tonight for a rezoning request for parcel ID 012535 on Swansboro Loop Road. So Pinnacle Construction and Development LLC, on behalf of property owners Family Freedom LLC, has submitted a rezoning request for a property on Swansboro Loop Road from RA Residential Agricultural to R10 Single Family Residential. The property is located in Swansboro's ETJ and is further identified again as tax parcel ID 012535, and the total acreage requested for rezoning is 1 acre. You can see here on our presentation, it outlines the 1 acre parcel that is currently zoned RA. Pinnacle Construction and Development LLC are under contract to buy the property contingent on if the rezoning is granted, with the plan to subdivide the property to build a couple single-family homes. With its current, with its current RA zoning and 1.5 acre minimum lot size for new lots, this is not possible with its current designation. The CAMA land use plan labels this property as RA, deeming it important to preserve existing agricultural lands, though it does outline residential structures separated by large fences and yards as an acceptable use of property in RA. Given this designation, this request does not appear to be consistent with the future land use plan, but that being said, it's also important to note that the abutting properties are zoned R10 SF and R20 SF. R10 single-family residential is still a residential designation, but allows for 10,000 square foot lots, making the division of the property into several lots possible. So we have our CAMA future land use map, kind of a zoomed out view of it, so you can see the surrounding RA designation. And here's also an expanded zoning map, so you guys can see the existing zoning designations surrounding the property as well. The application was first heard by the Planning Board at their December 2nd, 2025 regular meeting. The Planning Board did not recommend this rezoning for approval to the board due to inconsistency with the future land use plan. It was then reviewed at the January 27th, 2026 regular Board of Commissioners meeting. At that meeting, the board approved a motion to send it back to the Planning Board for further review and a new recommendation after receiving information from a Planning Board member that they had made their vote in error at the December 2nd meeting. It was again reviewed by the Planning Board for a second time at their special meeting on February 12th, 2026. And it was again not recommended for approval to the board due to inconsistency with the future land use plan. So the recommendation didn't change from the first planning board meeting that it was heard at. Additionally, there had been a good amount of questions about the history of the lots or the parcels around, let me go back here, around this acre as far as when it was rezoned, what it was rezoned from, and kind of the time frame of that. So on y'all's desk, you should have received this extra report that kind of outlines the existing surrounding parcels. So Sand Dollar Homes was a big one. That's the large parcel to the left and below. It is currently zoned as R20 SF, and it was rezoned in 2024 from RA. The property above in purple is 251 Swansboro Loop Road, and we couldn't find the exact date that it was rezoned, but the oldest zoning map we could locate shows the parcel zoned as R10 in 2007, so it's been zoned that way for a while.
Is that R10 as well? The blue is R10?
The blue is R20, and then the purple is R10.
No, that's what I meant, the purple, I'm sorry.
Yep.
And there's
And-
only one house on that, right?
Correct. And then there is a question about the landings. That's not in this frame, but it's a little bit further up the road on Swansboro Loop. That was rezoned from R10 single family to a PUD, a planned unit development, in 2009. And then Swans Gate also was in question, which is a subdivision pretty much right below the Sand Dollar Home subdivision on Main Street Extension. And that was rezoned from RA to R20 in 2018. Do you all have any questions for me?
Rebecca, just a question, like same along the lines that the mayor had asked. The property adjacent to it, 233, 229, that's still RA with those two dwellings on it, is that correct?
Yep, correct. This is the current zoning on this screen right here.
Thank you.
The purple is, again, is R10, R20 or R10?
The purple is R10.
Is there any plans that we know of? That doesn't appear that that gentleman is going to build any more homes on that parcel. I mean, it's hard to say. We can't say, I don't guess, until application.
I don't assume so. He's invested a lot on that property. It's a very nice home with a nice garage. It's pretty much in the center of the large lot, so I don't anticipate him wanting to build any other homes on it. It would be tricky to configure subdividing that lot the way he has it laid out with his house on it right now.
Anybody else?
Rebecca, when we do a new land use plan, these properties were rezoned prior to 2019. Why were these areas not properly depicted and shaded? Is that because it's out in the day? Because this just shows RA, and that's not accurate.
You mean on the future land use map? So the future land use map, its purpose is not to reflect the current zoning necessarily. It's to reflect what future development could be steered towards. So it's not going to necessarily completely accurately reflect what the zoning is. It's more of a generalized designation. So if we were to show the different zonings in relation to the designation, it would be very splotchy and kind of hard to keep up with. So it's a general designation to guide future development. It's not necessarily completely matched or in line with what the current zoning is.
Do we know the dates that those Sand Dollar home site was approved and the purple parcel of land? Do we happen to know right off what the dates are on that?
It was in this report. So the Sand Dollar Homes rezoning
2021.
was in 2024, and the R10 property above in purple, we couldn't find the exact date of the rezoning, but the oldest map we could find showed that it was R10 back in 2007, so it's been that zoning designation for a while. Does that answer your question?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anybody else have questions? Okay, so we'll move to public hearing, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, I'd like to open a public hearing. And we have, Vicki Brown is signed up to talk. If you'll just come to the microphone and your name and address, please.
Hello, I'm Vicki Brown at 601 West Broad Street, Swansboro, and my printer didn't work, so I'm going to attempt to use my phone, which may or may not work. Thank you for letting me address you. For one thing, though, before we get started with what I want to say, I'm not sure what R10 and R20 allows. R10 allows for more homes, 10,000 square feet for each home.
Yeah, that would be more, the lower the number. Yeah.
So how many homes could go on an acre? But I heard you say a couple. And a couple, me, anyhow, so I've always heard. Okay. Well, as it stands now, The LUP designates this land as rural agricultural, but because the land use plan and the recommendations of the planning board have been disregarded, much of the neighboring properties that were once also RA are now new subdivisions. So much has been approved that the LUP has been watered down to the point that some people think that it's no longer valid. And yet, as it was written by input of so many to reflect the direction we want our town to go in, if you are set on approving this rezoning, I request that you make it conditional. Those conditions should be less houses, no clear cutting, not 4 individual driveways going out onto Swansboro Loop Road. Stormwater management, maybe even consider sidewalks and enhanced buffer between the roadway and the housing. I certainly think that 4 houses is an awful lot to go into an acre. All of these conditions will then require strong follow-up from the town to ensure compliance. And I think that's, in my opinion, and I don't mean to criticize any of y'all about this, but in the past, I think that's where we've been weak in not following up to make sure the sidewalks are put in that the builders said they would put in, that sort of thing. Certainly no enhanced vegetation, and I've lost my page entirely. In the past, I think too much deference has been given to what the property owner wants and to do, and regardless of the negative impacts to the town or to the compliance with their land use plan. This inclination to continue to approve rezonings for various reasons has perpetuated the problem so that at some point either we rezone everything and develop all the land, or you're going to have to draw the line somewhere and say no more. This is enough. I ask that no rezoning be granted, but if you feel so compelled to grant this specific rezoning, then do so with conditions that will enhance our town, uphold the LUP as much as is possible, and protect our streets and water quality. I apologize for not being able to see that clearly, but thank you very much.
No apologies needed, and, you know, we all know each other, so there's no apologies ever needed for anything. But thank you for your comments on that. And Jamie Patani, you'll be next, and name and address, please.
Hello, I'm Jamie Patani, 2102 Holly Hill Court. I am on the planning board. I voted not to approve this. The acreage out there, there's a lot of little 1-2 acre plots out there if you look at the tax map. And if we allow this to go through, then who's to say we have no basis to deny anybody else? I mean, once you let the door open, everybody's going to run through it. I just think it would be overbuilt, and we've made that mistake already in this area. I just ask that you follow our recommendation. Thank you. And thank you to the police department for all you do.
All right, thank you, Jamie, for your comments. And Tom Parati, your name and address, please, at the microphone.
Tom Parati, 708 Meeting Park Lane. I just want to start out, Chief, thank you very much for everything that you and your department do. I really hope that as you sit down and the board keeps telling you that, you know, we're here to support you, we'll take care of you. One thing I wanted to take away from that was when you said, hey, probably need some more money to get the guys up to be able to keep them. I hope they honor that part and they do that piece to help you out just so we can keep these guys. You got a great force, so please keep that up. For you guys, y'all know that I am on the planning board also. I understand where everybody sits down and we look at this, and I will agree with Ms. Brown that the land use plan is very important, right? It's one of those things that is going to sit down and maintain what the town of Swansboro does. However, as you sit down and you look at the larger map, and if you would, Rebecca, can you flip back to the land use plan, please? That one slide right there, you can go back to that one. Go back to the yellow boxes there. So as everybody looks at this thing, the one thing I want to say is, yes, this is all rural agriculture. I got it. The one lot that we have looks nothing like that now. It's R10, it's R20. It is surrounded by that piece. And I think as I go through and I read the land use plan and I understand what we're trying to do is we want to maintain a transition spot between what is the rural area coming into the town and keeping things green. I think we can all agree that that's what we want, that we don't need 1,000 things that are out there. What I will tell you though is as you look at that piece, we've got rural agriculture that's up there. There's a softball field, a baseball field. That thing is not going anywhere. The Veterans Park is going there. It's been rezoned. That's your transition piece. The other big block that you see across from that, well, that's the landings. And as we sit down and we build this map and we look at this map and we go back to the 2014 piece, we threw a bunch of green up there and we keep voting on this same thing going, don't change anything when it's already changed. What I will tell you is that how many of you guys sitting on the board would ever go and say, I need directions from here to Raleigh and grab a 1978 Atlas and use that to get your directions? And that's not a rhetorical question because I know what it is, because I know what you're going to tell me. Who would ever do that? Everything has changed. At the end of the day, we need to take what we have for our land use plan, update the maps to what is reality, and then focus on preserving the rest of that stuff. If we think that 1 acre on this lot, and whether it gets rezoned or not, trees, no trees, 2 houses, 3 houses, it's not going to end Swansboro. It's not going to create more traffic. It's not going to overcrowd the schools. It's not going to overwhelm Onwasha and everything else that's going on. We sit down and we talk about common sense. I just ask that somebody uses some common sense and let's get this thing right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Okay, that's all that's signed up for to speak. Anybody else want to voice an opinion? Yeah, go ahead, please. If you step up and state your name and address, please.
My name is Lisa Manus, and I live on 532 Sabston Drive. I would like to recommend that you not approve this for the same reasons that Jamie and Vicki mentioned, and that is, you know, once you do it for one person, it opens up to other people, and before you know it, things are out of control again. Secondly, my family owns property on that road, and I know it's been brought up before. It is very wet out there. Water runoff is an issue. It's just wet. We can hardly build on what we have because it's so wet. So I know that's an issue, and traffic is an issue. And you know, it's going to be Queens Creek Road if we keep going at the rate that we're going. I think the ball field is great. I think the Veterans Memorial is great, but more houses, I'm not in support of that. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your comments. And so that's everyone that signed up to speak. So I would like to close the public hearing. And so now we're to the point that we need to either make a motion to approve the rezoning through the new ordinance that was drawn up or deny that new ordinance. Do I need to read that ordinance for public? I didn't think so, but just double checking. And so that would allow for the rezoning to residential agricultural to R10. So do I have a motion? Any motions?
I'll make a motion to not approve the rezoning request as it is written.
Okay, so I have a motion to not approve. Do I have a second? Second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Well, first, any discussion?
Yeah, I've got some discussion. I looked up some definitions. What do you call it when you have on the same boulevard or the same street, within a half mile, R10, R20, PUD, and within a half mile, you have additional R10 and R20 lots, and RA? What does that meet the definition of all within a half a mile? Does anyone here have an answer? Because I did look it up, and it's called a transitional area, an area of transition. Okay? That's the state in which this currently exists. Now, I would say in the future, to make this less contentious and more of a planning exercise, that our next land use plan also include transition areas. And that would make the planning board's job easier to do. And it would give us a forecast on where we look to grow this town, common sense wise, in identifying those transitional areas. I think that would be helpful. Now, this currently sits in a transition area physically, as it exists today. And that is why I use cognitive reasoning, not a plan that's out of date currently or doesn't show transitional areas on it, but through basic analysis, walking the ground, talking to the folks out there as well. It is a transitional area. So I'll leave that on the table for discussion.
So we have a motion to deny on the table with a second. I do want to ask a question real quick. No question, right? So Ms. Brown brought up the fact if it is redistricted or rezoned, to put conditions on it. We can't do conditional rezoning on that. Okay. Just want to make sure. Yeah, I just want to make sure we're clear on it. Okay. All right. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Can we continue discussion?
You
Mr.
can,
Mayor?
yeah. You got
I mean,
one.
I just like to throw out some points myself. I mean, after reading the land use plan quite a few times and also just my research, my understanding of rural agriculture as per the land use plan, designated as intended to support and preserve agriculture, which I think we all agree this land is not used for agriculture, but also to conserve our natural resources and maintain the rural character of the landscape. And I think that's important. And as we look around that area, I think we've had quite a few deviations from the land use plan in the future. And, you know, I, for one, and I'd like to see us stick a stake in the ground and not continue to deviate from the land use plan, and then we make it null and void. That's what I'm concerned about. You know, we have a recommendation from the planning board, 5-1, to not recommend this rezoning. It's inconsistent with the land use plan. And I believe it's not what the vast majority of the people of Swansboro want. I say that two reasons. One, from the survey from the land use plan, and I know that is from 2019, and only a little over 100 people participated. But I would also say from just 4 months ago, controlled growth was on our ballot here in November. And the top two candidates got over 500 votes. The third place candidate got over 400 votes. A candidate who was pro-growth got 153 votes. So you tell me what the people of Swansboro want. I think it's controlled growth. And I think it is to uphold our land use plan. And to a comment Ms. Batani said, I agree with her. I used to hear some comments made about, well, we should approve things and let the infrastructure catch up. I don't think that's the direction that we want to go. I've never heard that, honestly, that concept before. Serving 24 years in the Marine Corps now, over 14 in civil service on Marine Corps Base Camp Lejeune. I've never heard that philosophy before. So I don't agree with it, and I don't want to set the conditions to some points that have been made where we turn the Loop Road into Queens Creek Road, because we know about the issues that are ongoing that way. So with that said, I'd be inclined to not support this rezoning based on those reasons.
I'd like to respond to some of that. The 400 people that voted for you in common sense don't live in the ETJ. This is folks that live in the ETJ that have come here as part of a board that they can't vote for. And they're asking for a property right to invest time, effort, and treasure into a piece of property to improve it. That falls under the constitutional boundary right there. And that's what a boundary means as far as authorization goes. They have some sovereignty on that piece of land. Now, I didn't write the legislation that dictates what an ETJ is. But if I did, I certainly wouldn't write it the way North Carolina wrote it. So I'm not going to try to interpret the law. I'm just going to go by it. But I am going to go by what currently exists out there. R10, R20, PUD, all within, and then consistency matters too. If you're going to grant the R20 and the R10s, this board did that. Or not this board, but previous boards have done that. But you're going to deny the rights of someone that can't even vote or have influence on this board. That's the problem I have with this. And that's why I would think property rights as a default in the Constitution, the thing that we swore to. Always, you have to have something more probable that would be catastrophic or affect the area in a negative way than this currently does. We're talking about 2 to 3, 4 homes at max. It's 1 acre. This is not Flybridge anymore. This is not a great big 50, 60, 160 acre subdivision going. This is one man's piece of property that he's going to pour time and effort into. And all he's asking, he's got to come and ask permission from someone that he doesn't even have a chance to vote for his representation. So I think we have to default to the citizen in this one.
So I want to add something to that. I have never heard anybody associated with this town say, let the infrastructure catch up with the growth. I've never heard that come out of anybody's mouth. So I want to get that set clear from the start. That's never been said by anyone. We just approved 50 homes to be built, and we're going to not approve 4 homes to be built. Kind of hypocritical, if you ask me. I'm kind of leading down the road where I'm thinking, and I've done as much since I've been in office for this town to preserve its heritage and its green spaces and its rural agricultural as anybody sitting in this room and anybody in town, to be honest with you. Like I said, my family's been in this county for 250 years. I'm not from Swansboro, but I am from Onslow County. So it means a lot to me. I voted against Flybridge. I thought that was the wrong thing to come into this town. I've worked with Jim Hamrick on fire mitigation, as our chief has, and preserving his almost 100 acres right in the center of town. So I want to voice my opinion. I would support it, to be quite honest with you. I don't have a vote at this point, but my opinion, I'm entitled to express it. You know, I've worked on 1.5 to 2 years trying to preserve the visitor center with the town staff. It's been a very tedious and long process, but we've been making progress on that. I've been very supportive of the historic societies. And so I just think we need to back up, take a deep breath, look at what's around the property, and it's going to be 4 houses, or will it go out of our ETJ into the county one day and they build a little small apartment complex with 8 to 10 or 12 apartments in it? You have to look at that aspect of it. I hate to see green space go as well. You know, I'm working on trying to get a dock walk, you know, along the waterfront to enhance the beauty. I've worked with people to establish a beautification committee for the town. And so it's not that I'm not trying to keep this town like it is in a big sense, because I respect the heritage. But that's just my 2 cents, and where I don't have a vote at this point. It may come down that I might, it may come down that I don't, but that's just my feelings on it. That being said, any more discussion? Okay. Do we want to do just, so we have a motion and a second, and so we'll take a vote on it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Okay.
Okay. So we have a tie. And I think I kind of led up to that. I will vote to allow the rezoning, just based on the reasons that I said. You know, hopefully we could work with that property owner and establish guidelines that they will follow. So, Raz, did you have? Now, that being said, I don't want to disappoint people sitting in this room. I'm sure I have in some senses, but, you know, it's a hard job up here trying to satisfy everyone. And so we do the best that we can. Go ahead,
Mayor,
Raz.
Procedurally, the motion was to deny the rezoning. If the will of the board is to approve the rezoning, there needs to be
I have a
another
motion and a second.
to
Yep,
adopt
you're right.
the ordinance that's
Yep.
in your agenda package.
I apologize. So that motion didn't carry, right? So we need to do another motion. Is there another motion on the table?
Motion to approve.
Okay, so there's a motion to approve, a second. Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Mayor,
Aye.
excuse me for interrupting. The
Yep.
motion is to approve the ordinance
Mhm.
that was in the package, so it's not
Okay.
just simple motion plus vote. It's to approve the ordinance.
Okay, a motion to approve the ordinance?
Could we have a discussion about that, Mayor, just
You
real
can,
quick?
yeah.
I mean, I'd like to at least offer if we rezone it, could we rezone it conditional? Well, you said we can't do it conditionally. There's no way you can do that. So there's no, I mean, R10 is, would be approved at.
The advertisement, the notice was for a straight conventional rezoning, an upzoning, and it's well established that that cannot be, after you've noticed the meeting and had the hearing on one zoning proposal, you can't convert it to a rezoning. And the rezoning has to be, a conditional rezoning has to be based on conditions that are proposed by the applicant and that are consented to by the applicant. And I understand the applicant's not here tonight. Now, there could be, no action, and but I think the motion is on the floor now to actually take the action.
Fair enough. Thanks, Russ. Thanks for the clarification.
So the rezoning request says just to subdivide the 1 acre lot. It doesn't really specify, but the R10 is what controls that, right?
Mayor, we might just add, the lot as it stands is 1 acre in size. And the rezoning would call for an R10 density, which at least in theory is 10,000 square foot lots, which would allow more than 2 units. However, this is 1 acre in a lot of record with limitations on the side yard setbacks, the setback from the street, the minimum yard requirement in the code, and there may be other code requirements, so that from a practical standpoint, as your code is now written, this could not be subdivided and approved for more than 2 lots. And I stand to be corrected by
2 lots? Is that?
Well, so the rezoning is just for an R10. We don't have any details of necessarily what he's choosing to do with the property yet. The rezoning's just for the rezoning of the parcel. We don't have details of what he's going to do. In order to actually get a subdivision of the lot signed off on, we would have to go through all the details of what's required in our ordinance. So he may not, after going through all those requirements, be able to do 4 lots. We haven't gotten that far into the review process yet. But if you looked at it solely as you have an acre and you can do 4 10,000 square foot lots, in theory, if he meets all the other requirements, he could do that. But it's doubtful after going through all the review process that would be allowed, but we haven't gotten to that step yet. The rezoning is just for the rezoning, not about the details of what he's going to do with the property.
Got a long way to go.
I just want to make sure, you have a clear understanding. Okay, so we have the discussion. Any more discussion on that? Okay, so we have a motion on the table to approve the ordinance, and we have a second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all opposed?
Nay.
Okay, so that's 2 and 2. So again, I already kind of led up to that. I think we set the precedence when we put the 50 house allowance, the 50 lot allowance. We kind of set the precedent for that road. We do need to monitor it very clearly going forward, so I would vote for it. Okay, so that's 3 to 2 in favor of it. All right. Sorry for all the snafus on that, but we're kind of working through the process. And we appreciate everybody's sentiments on it. So now we have business non-consent we'll go to with John and Rez. Thank you for keeping me in line.
Mayor, Board, good evening. This next agenda item for your consideration is to consider a lease renewal for 106 Church Street, also known as the cigar shop. The town owns this property and has for a number of years leased it to the current property, or the proprietor at 106, George L. Asmar. George L. Asmar. He has leased it from us for a number of years. This is probably the second or third renewal from the original lease. The current lease expired after 5 years and has automatic renewals if the board agrees to do that. we are recommending to you for an additional 5 years for the use of the retail shop at 106 Church Street at a rate of $1,880.23 per month with annual CPI increases each year.
Okay, I got a question. So is that the current rent right now, $1,800 a month? Is that what
It will be
with the new lease?
with the new lease, yeah.
Should we try to increase the rent as time goes on, 5 years? You know, just a thought. I didn't know. So he'll be locked in for 5 years at $1,800 a month.
Sonia looks up the CPI, the index, each January, and it will adjust the rate.
So it could go-
Depending on what the CPI is, that's how we adjust the rent.
So it could go up. Yeah, that's just making sure. Anybody else have questions? John?
You have resolution number 26-R5 there for your consideration if you want to renew that lease with him for 5 years.
Okay, so we need a motion to adopt Resolution 26R5 approving the lease as described in the overview and upon other such terms as the town manager determines to be the best interest of the town and authorize and direct the town manager to execute at the appropriate time any instrument necessary to consummate the lease agreement. So is there a motion on that?
So moved.
So a motion to approve?
Second.
Okay, and it got a second.
Second.
Okay, so we have 2 seconds, so that's good. So all in favor? To
Aye.
approve?
Aye.
All opposed? So that carries to approve the lease.
All right, the next item for your consideration is to consider amending Town Code 130.02, no smoking in town buildings or vehicles. We have a section in our code in Chapter 130. You have a copy of the proposed ordinance amendment on the second page in your agenda packet. Specifically, Section C, it currently reads, smoking prohibited in municipal vehicles shall be unlawful for any person to smoke in any vehicle now or hereafter owned or leased by the town. And the second phrase is, provided, however, smoking shall be permitted in vehicles in which the person who is smoking is the only occupant and in vehicles in which no non-smoker is present. My recommendation is to remove that second phrase so that it only says it shall be unlawful for any person to smoke in any vehicle now or hereafter owned or leased by the town.
Okay, so any discussion or questions for John on that? Okay, so then we need a motion to adopt ordinance 26,
So moved.
2000, what?
So moved.
A motion to adopt ordinance 2026-02 effectively amending the town section 130.02 by removing the smoking exception for town vehicles. So do we have a motion? Is that to remove it or to add it?
Yes,
town?
to remove that section allowing
Okay.
some people to smoke sometimes. But just no smoking period in town vehicles, anybody.
Okay. So, yeah, go ahead. Okay, second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, all opposed?
It's an aye.
Okay, so that's unanimous. So that's approved. All right, thank you, John. So future agenda topics would be Elisa.
Good evening. So upcoming for your March 24th meeting, you'll have recognition of a fire department representative, Teague Sullivan. You will also hear the fire department's end-of-year report. We will have the Swansgate Street acceptance for consideration, the Withers Ravenel grant update presentation, and the monthly financial report. Looking forward into April, we will have two special event applications coming forward. We are looking to schedule the Onslow County tax reevaluation presentation. We're unsure which meeting that'll be at, but we're hoping it's one of those. We'll also receive a pickleball court project update, and the Parks and Recreation Department will give their end-of-year report. Did the board have any other items they wish to see at the March or April meetings?
I do.
Yes, ma'am.
We just had that workshop with the HPC, We really didn't have much opportunity there while we were learning to have any discussion with them. They've got some issues that they want to address. And that invite them to one of our next meetings or schedule another workshop.
Which do you think is the best way to do it, with another workshop or have it in a presentation by them?
If I may, if I can just add to
Yeah.
what Tamara's saying, I mean, I totally agree what she wants to get after. I think the key point that we were trying to get out of that meeting was, what is our enforcement plan? And updating that enforcement plan with, of course, input from the town attorney. So we have steps 1 through 5, like, for example, of how we can help the Historical Preservation Commission enforce our historic district, and changes that are made and so forth to ensure they're aligned with current policy. I think that's what they really wanted to get after. Please correct me if I'm
I
wrong.
agree with you, and I think we walked away from that meeting saying that we want to give them that bite.
Well, I
to
mean,
their ball.
that was an
Absolutely.
informational meeting with
Yeah,
our
yeah,
guests.
so we could have another
need to have that
workshop where
discussion.
more dialogue could be had, do you think?
I just think until we get that, I don't know if it would be a good time to have the dialogue, until we get that plan that we can lay out for them, that moving forward, here is the teeth to our policy.
I agree with you.
And then as we move forward, I know some of us have talked about, when we talk about budgets, to see if we can help them maybe with public outreach events or something in the coming year.
I agree with you. I think it needs to be a concise plan to come to, give it to us. Yeah. So
But we need
maybe
Brad
could
to
we?
tell us what our options are.
Yeah, because we all agree that they need to have more bite and be enforcement. So should we schedule another workshop then, do you think, with just us and our board? Is that what you think? Just us and our advisory committee? Yeah. Is that clear, or are we kind of vague?
It sounds like what you're aiming to do is have staff and the attorney do what they can to come up with a plan and then have a meeting once that's established.
Okay.
I would agree with that way forward.
So we'll have a joint meeting to be planned in
Yeah.
the future after staff
Sounds, yeah.
and the attorney work together. Okay?
Sorry, I know you guys are busy.
Anything else? Yes, Jeff?
Yeah, I don't know, we had briefly talked about this. I spoke with John about it, I spoke with you. Some of our administrative stuff is like wrong and outdated. For one thing, the number of commissioners on the board is wrong.
We're
and-
working on those. They're
Yeah.
forthcoming.
Right, and the description for the mayor's responsibilities is wrong. So I'd like to, I don't know if you guys would just look at that stuff, make corrections and bring it to us, or,
We've already started the
Yeah.
amendment process of
You'd
that.
have
They're
to do
coming
a-
forward.
Ordinance for that, right? Or-
You will have to do just like you did with the town code just now to amend those. You'll do the same thing. But yes, we are working on those. Anything else?
Yeah, I would like to get that cadet and recognize Cadet Seymour somehow in the meeting. I don't, we recognize a lot of other young students, and I think it's very admirable in what he did.
Yes, sir, I've added him to the
And
list.
I've had a talk with a guy over the last couple of days. His name's Joshua Roan, and he's got a veterans support group. Maybe I don't think we're to the point yet, so don't put it down for future agenda. I just want to float the idea out there.
Okay.
He focuses on mentoring troubled veterans in our general area from Wilmington to New Bern, Moorhead. So he'd be more of a local mentor versus a national mentor. And I told him about Mary Pat, and maybe she could help him with some of that too. So maybe somewhere down the road he might be willing. Well, he's willing now, but I told him probably not quite ready yet. I don't know how y'all feel about it, but I would certainly love to have Jim Hamrick come and just talk. I don't know. I don't think he's all about that though, so that would be kind of hard to get him to come in and talk about what he's doing out there. But he's doing some great stuff out there, in my opinion. And that's basically all I have.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So now we go to items moved from consent, and there was none, so we'll move to the second public comment, which would be for 5 minutes regarding items not listed on the agenda. Does anyone like to, would anybody like to speak, though? Okay, so that being noticed, we'll move to the manager's comments, and that would be John.
So a couple items I want to make you aware of this week with Rebecca and Allie and can't forget Anna. And Anna helped me put together a grant application to the Onslow County TDA for the visitor center. They're due the 17th. We don't know when the county's going to, the Onslow County Board of Commissioners is their TDA. I don't know when the schedule will come out. Beginning of April is when we'll go make a presentation and make that request to them. We'll also be making a similar request to our TDA for the same funds. We've asked for $21,000 to supplement the funds that the town board has approved for the visitor center project. We're up around $97,000 for that total project, assuming we get all the funding. And we don't want to start the project, obviously, or I couldn't enter into a contract until we have all the funding in place to make it feasible. So once we hear from Onslow County, we'll get an application together for our TDA, hopefully get all the funds together so we get that project going sooner than later. It's springtime and it's going to get busy down there. I'd love to have the visitor center open for all the events and festivals that Anna and Sarah have planned for the year. And the second item is regarding the budget. Staff has submitted all their requests into Sonia. She's got everything inputted into the budget to give us an idea where we stand. And I'll be the first one to tell you we're nowhere close to being balanced. So this past week we've started meeting with department heads individually, going over their requests to make sure that me and Sonia understand what they're asking for. I would suggest that the board add to their a work session, a budget work session sooner than later. I'll get Elisa to poll you guys to see how your schedules look for late March. I'd like to do something at least this month to get started. Give us time to take your input and bring it back a balanced budget to you probably in second meeting in May, so we can have it available for public inspection and the public hearing, make the advertisement, and have the public hearing on the first meeting in June. So it's March, we have time, but I couldn't tell you how many work sessions it's going to take, but at least give us time to start, and we can schedule as many as it takes to get to the point where you're all comfortable to have present a budget for consideration. That's all I have, unless you have any questions for me.
Thank you, John. All right, so we'll move into board's comments now. From the manager's comments, Doug, you want to go ahead and start it out?
I'll keep it short and sweet. John, I'm glad I don't have your job. All right. I like flying the plane at 50,000 to 30,000. Man, I don't like landing. So good job on landing the airplane. I'll just say that. All right. Everybody else, thank you for coming out tonight. Thanks for participating tonight in tonight's public comment and hearing. This is how the process works. And I would just remind my board here and all members of the board that the first purpose of government, the major purpose for government, is to protect the rights of the individual citizen.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, sad part is the land use plan is inconsistent with itself due to all the changes that have been made in 2019. really disappoints me that there's really not a process where when there's a major change, we don't go in and change it. It's waited till 4, 5, 6 years later before it gets updated. But, you know, that's how the process is. I'm all for updating the plan, but it would probably be a wise idea for us to wait until we have some type of confirmation in the near future, hopefully, whether or not the state's going to do away with ETJ for municipalities. It would be a waste of money to spend the money to do that, to find out we have to erase half of it because ETJ was taken away from us. So, like I said, that plan does need to be repaired, redone. So the planning board is pretty not forced to say no because it's inconsistent because that's what they're supposed to do. And obviously this was inconsistent, but with all those changes that were made, if those changes would have been made, it wouldn't have been inconsistent. So thanks staff for everything. Thanks for my class. I'll get it done as soon as possible. And everything's going well, I think. Thank you.
Wayne?
Hey, I want to say thanks again to Chief Taylor for the detailed report tonight, and look forward to the next couple of weeks from Chief Randall and for Anna, respectively, with the Fire Department and Parks and Rec. Look forward to seeing those briefs as well. Just to share with everybody, I attended the Onslow County Commissioners meeting last Wednesday morning, and a big item that stuck out for me were comments made by our own Swansboro Commissioner John Davis. I'm going to read them so I'll make sure I get them correctly. I don't want him to say I misquoted him. He's concerned about the amount and speed of growth in the Queens Creek and Sand Ridge area. He's concerned about the impacts of traffic and schools in that area. And I just want to say I couldn't agree more with him. And further, I would assert that things that happen in Hubert, our ETJ, impact Swansboro, just like things that happen in Swansboro impact ETJ and Hubert. And collectively, we've got to find a way to move forward smartly. With that said, I mean, that's exactly the reason I voted tonight the way I did, saying no to the rezoning proposal. I think sooner or later you're going to have death by 1,000 cuts with this land use plan if you continue to deviate from it, or as one of the planning board members astutely said, just blatantly violate it. And I think that's what we're doing now, and I think that's really unfortunate. I'll close with saying that, like you, I would say most of you, I think you're enjoying this new spring weather and ready to put winter weather in our rearview mirror. If you look at the calendar, the websites and so forth, lots of things going on at Parks and Recs, lots of things going on in the town with Touch a Truck in April and other things, festivals, downtown restaurants are open. Go sit out downtown and enjoy this weather. So enjoy getting out and about, and I look forward to seeing you out and about in Swansboro. Thank you.
Thank you. Deborah?
I want to thank the citizens for coming out tonight and sharing their thoughts, concerns. We definitely need to update our land use plan, but everything in there says single-family home, single-family home. The maps don't match. They're not accurate. Every map looks different. We need to wait, obviously, for the EPA, for the state to make a decision on that before we spend any money, but it definitely needs to show an accurate depiction of what we actually have. We can't just keep pointing at maps that show the big green spaces that aren't accurate. This rezoning, I feel, was consistent with the surrounding areas. Now, it doesn't matter who did that or when they did it. It wasn't recorded on that 19 plan. There were 2008 rezonings that don't show on that map. But yet again, more single-family homes, which is what everybody was asking. So as we move forward, hopefully next year, everybody will come out and we can put together a better plan that depicts what we actually have and where we want it to go. Mr. Barlow, and to all of your staff that worked so hard in putting together those sketches and maximizing every inch of that visitor space. Thank you for doing that, bringing it to us. Sonia, thank you for keeping the book.
I just want to start out by thanking Jeff and Wayne in particular, because I know you guys have been involved with our county commissioners, and I've had some discussions with them as well, and I think probably Tamara and Doug have as well. But we are going to meet with the new county. Well, he's really the deputy county manager right now. He's interim county manager with Commissioner Davis, with John and myself in the near future, like within the next week. I can't remember the exact date, but we'll be meeting with them to discuss things. I just want to thank you for your involvement with them. I know you have conversations with several commissioners as well. Jim Hamrick, I can't keep mentioning him enough with his fire mitigation and what he's doing with the longleaf pine restoration that he's trying to do out there and conserve that land. I'm sure y'all are probably familiar with Major Capers. He is really close to getting the Medal of Honor now. It's been approved by the U.S. House and the Senate, and it's sitting on the President's desk for his signature. So as soon as he can get that signature, hopefully we can invite him down here, since we did have a part of writing a resolution in support of him. But he's a great man. He has a luncheon once a month on Thursdays, and it's a nonprofit that he has, and it's a really worthwhile thing he's doing. I'd like to welcome our new police officer and thank Chief for getting us all staffed up. As always, the fire department, parks and rec, and planning and finance departments and town staff. Read Across America was a big thing. I know you guys, and I saw, I went to a couple of schools and read some books, and I saw Vicki Brown's name was on there to read some books as well. So anytime we have that kind of thing going on, it's great to see our citizens signed up to do that kind of stuff. And touching on that, Swansboro United Methodist is going to do a literacy program this summer for about a month. And Silverdale School is going to be involved with it quite a bit. And I'm going to volunteer out there. So they're looking for volunteers to help with that literacy program. And any town staff or any citizens that would like to do that would be welcome. Land use plan has been beat to death. We do need to figure out, maybe we can start having some discussions with our representatives and see what their feel is when the ETJ is going to be revised. Because if everybody is not familiar with that, there's some talk that the state may take over or give it the jurisdiction to the county, basically. So that would leave us out with decision-making on the ETJs. So that being said, I don't have anything else to say. Anybody else? So I would need a motion to adjourn, if so inclined. Second?
Second.
Okay, have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. So adjourned. You got a point. You got a point. Yes, it is. That's why we need to get them to talk to the Historic Association.